Greetings, Star Trek Fleet Commanders. I am the Angry Rhino. Simulation Part 2 is over. Now, what happens this time of the month in between arcs is usually grading videos come out. I kind of do a grading video. It's a little different. A lot of other content creators have a whole list and they actually give A and B grades and such and such. It's a little overdone. I usually go with a thumbs up or a thumbs down. So, for instance, this month I'm going to be giving 2 thumbs down and 2 middle fingers up. That's right. It's time for another installment of What Was You Thinking? Ha! Gotcha with that one, didn't I? Now, yes, I have done a version of this for the officers. So I'll gloss over that real quick. I don't like the officers this month. No captain ability seems kind of silly, especially when you make some of these officer abilities for going after Borg spheres. Okay. The lower deck abilities are nice-ish. They don't really do a whole lot, so thumbs down. The mission, or the missions, I covered the missions already because 3 million tritanium, I'm not going to mine that much tritanium. How many miners do I have to have tied up for how many days mining 3 million tritanium? 3 million tritanium is nothing to me. It's nothing. Now, if it was like ore or crystal or something, be a little different. That, and I think it would go a little faster too. Tritanium doesn't really go that fast, so no, not doing it. Missions suck. On the other hand, yes, one of the missions for this month gave you a free Talios, but how much does that get factored into the missions grade, if you will? Or does it get into the ship's grade? Depends on how you look at it. Let's talk about the ship. Usually there's not a ship, that gets graded for a month. But when they do come out, they do deserve a grade. So let's talk about the Talios. I do think it is a decent upgrade for the Vidar. The downside is some people, and I've heard the numbers, that only like 6% of the people in the game had a max Vidar, which just sounds weird. But, however, you play your game how you like to. It's fine. Some people don't like that they have to now upgrade a ship instead of getting all the goodies in the refinery, like faction credit, independent credit, directives. It does kind of suck that the same currency used to upgrade the ship is what you need to get directives and faction credit and independent credit. Now, I really need to upgrade mine because I can't use my Talios in my Borg spheres unless I disco. Who remembers that video? Yes, it was my doing. But at the same time, these warp ranges causes you to use more disco juice. So, kind of what this ship wants you to do now. I don't really like that at all. But it is faster than a Vidar. It does have a larger cargo. Therefore, it's not a one-trick pony. It can be used in PvP. Is it going to be your best PvP? Is it going to be your best PvP ship? Probably not. But it will most likely be your best OPC hunter. So, good for grinding Borgs. Good OPC hunter. Not too good on Armadas. So, but I'll go to thumbs up. Credit where credit's due, I guess. Let's go on to events now. Yes, I do think the events paid out very good this month. I really do think the events paid out good. The Dabo style event store was nice. But at the same time, with these events, I did feel like there were several days where there really wasn't a whole lot of events going on. Now, I know some of the events were, certain hosts, kill this hostile, kill that hostile, mine this stuff, hit your help button, grind Borg probes, which most people do every day, right? You have dailies to mine this, you have dailies to kill this. You want to do, you get such such and such Borg tokens every day, so you possibly want to grind Borgs every day. So there are those where the events kind of overlap the everyday stuff you do anyway. But then there were some days where I felt like there was a lot of events. There was very little overlap on your daily stuff. So it just felt like you had to do what? 5, 6 extra grind runs a day? You got to go grind security codes. You got to go hit battleships with an interceptor. You got to go hit explorers with a battleship. Yes, I do understand that doing swarm runs, doing Borg runs, doing Mantis runs can count. But if you're like me, and I get this is like rich people problems. If you're 49, and especially with Borg hitting what do I hit? 38s? Not getting that many points from hitting 38s. So I have to go find other battleships to kill with my interceptor. Now I can do it. It's not that it's hard. At least, with that one. It's just it takes a little more extra time. So I guess what I'm saying is I like more balance. I don't want to have some days, like Sunday. Sunday, I felt like there were a lot of events. I don't want to have that 1 or 2 days a week where it feels like there's a shit ton of events. And then some days where there's like no events. I mean, what were you thinking? You were thinking, oh, let's make them work their asses off on one day and do nothing on these other days. Depends on who you are, I guess. Maybe you kinda like having a day off. But then do you want to work your ass off on the other days? So I guess for me it's a what was you thinking, for maybe for you it wasn't. And the damn hostile specific kills with a specific ship. What was you thinking? I hate those. I mean, I guess it's just me. Now, I've said I've hated them a million times, but... So, I guess, what was I thinking for keep doing them? Of course they're going to keep making the stupid events. Because idiots like me hate them, keep doing them. Where am I at? I made an outline of what I want to go through. If I can read my own handwriting again. Maybe I need to learn how to write. Feature. The feature's next. Right? Because I covered the events, the ship, the mission. Okay. The feature. That is a big, huge, what were you thinking? What were you thinking with these expansion cubes? I mean, you would talk about grind times. Or time spent in general. These are really annoying. Now I know I have heard through the grapevine if you'll call it that. I didn't hear Eco specifically say this. I have heard people say that he said this. Eco apparently loves this. He loves this amount of coordination. And apparently he thought everybody was going to love this amount of coordination. But what was you thinking? This is way too much coordination. Hey, Alliance, let's go run an expansion cubes. Sure, let's go. What do we need to do? Because they barely told us what to do with it. What was you thinking? Barely explaining it. I guess you leave it up to all the content creators to explain it to you. But if you don't explain it to the content creators, how are they going to explain it? Now, with, the big ones like a DJ or a Rev, they get in contact with the arc runners and the feature creators and such. I don't. Of course, I watch Rev and I watch DJ and they tell me. So. But what was you thinking? Oh, let's go run expansion cubes. Okay. Wait, we have to go run a Borg sphere first. Oh my god. One, I don't like the Borg spheres that much. Part of it is I don't like all my ships can't make it there. So if I want to use a Cerrito, if I want to use a Defiant, if I want to use a Talios, got a disco on there. Yes, I understand that is what that's for. That is what the disco is for. It is a one-trick pony, but it's one badass hell of a trick. But what was you thinking when you decided to put a feature in that was going to cause us to use more disco juice, but didn't increase the capacity of disco juice? You got a Bajoran favor to increase the capacity of your cloak juice. How about the disco juice too, dickheads? What was you thinking? We want bigger capacity for disco juice, so we don't ever run the risk of discoing a ship to a system and then running out of disco juice. Yes, I did it on purpose. Just so you could have some visual that there is a possibility that it will happen. Especially if you're just disco here, just disco there, just disco there. Eventually you're going to run out. I'm not saying that you should use it sparingly, but it's something that you really should pay attention to. Still talking about the Borg expansion cubes. God. That's another thing that kind of annoys me. It's like, what was you thinking? Borg probes, Borg expansion cubes, Borg spheres. I get it. They're like the same faction, but at the same time, it's almost like too much at the same time. Just got to get used to it, I guess. But part of the problem is so little directives are given out. One, there was none in the battle pass. I mean, there were a few sphere directives, but you had to earn the expansion cube directives, which makes sense. I understand that. Of course, you could have made an event, do such and such task, and get a few extra Borg. Expansion cubes? Oh my god. Too many Borg armadas, I'll tell you that. And therefore, you can do them more. And two, you can get a better idea of what to do. Because what was you thinking? You made a feature that's kind of difficult to engage with because of the low sourcing of directives. We need the directives to do this. How do we engage with the content if we don't have the directives? So what was you thinking? Now on to this foreign knowledge exocomp. That's annoying. That is one of the things that makes this level of coordination shitty. Yes, it lasts an hour. Cool. Well, the Armada timers last for 15 minutes. You can't go start a sphere and start an expansion cube at the same time. You need to do a sphere and then start the expansion cube. Start the expansion cube first, allow the timer to tick off so it feels like it takes less time. You then can't go run a sphere because you can't have two armadas running at the same time. And another problem is you want to go kill the sphere for this exocom. Well, you really have two options. You go hit your normal size sphere, send all the ships you usually do them with, or you hit lower and maybe use a smaller ship and a lesser crew. Because that's another thing, crew. What crew do you use for the expansion cube? Well, I think as of right now, the best crew is Cisco Miles 6 of 11, with your biggest ship running Hull Breacher instead of 6, and your smaller ship running Gala instead of 6. Well, if you're doing your normal size spheres, those officers may or may not be on the same ship. They're also probably not on your Talios. They're probably, at least for Cisco and Miles and 6, at least one or two, if not all of them, are on the same ship because they're pretty good officers. So you're going to want them on your best ship. Well, your best ship probably isn't your Talios. So what do? Well, more disco juice. There's more disco juice right there. Because what do? How long does it take to get from your base to the spheres, and then from your spheres back to your base again? It really takes too long. I mean, that could be 15, 20 minutes right there. So you just wasted 15, 20 minutes of your little exocom thing. Or however long it really is for you. Then you got to repair all your ships. Then swap your ships out. Then swap your crews out. And then send to the expansion cubes. Yeah, man, that's too much. What you could have done, instead of some of the dumbass officer abilities that you put on these new Borg officers, you could have done something with expansion cubes for them. Made them good at expansion cubes. Increase the number of shots against expansion cubes. Increase the number of mitigation. Yeah, sure, I guess that kind of works. Increase mitigation against expansion cubes. Increase critical hit against expansion cubes. Puts hull breach on the expansion cubes. Because as of right now, part of the reward for these expansion cubes are these officers. Well, do we really like these officers? Not really. To a certain extent, I guess it's kind of nice that there is sourcing. But it's shit sourcing. What was you thinking? Here you go. Here's sourcing, but it's shit sourcing. Yeah, screw you guys. I don't know about you out there watching, but I kind of would like there to be no sourcing instead of this shit sourcing. Because what's more likely to happen? They'll add something to the game, like say sourcing, or they'll change the sourcing of officers. More likely, adding sourcing is more likely going to happen. Like say adding into the Ultra chest, or maybe adding something in the Borg refinery. What else have I got down here? I think that might go back to the exocomp for a minute. It automatically pops. What was you thinking? I mean, I guess I did cover this a little bit. I mean, it's time. What was you thinking? It takes 15 minutes for an expansion cube for your armada to run an expansion cube. Okay. that's already 15 minutes off the timer. What was you thinking? That's a terrible ratio. That's already a quarter of the time for your little exocomp that's already gone. Technically, sure, you can try to stagger when you start them. One, that's dangerous because if you don't have the right people on your ship or the right people don't show up and you blow up on the expansion cube that you're currently running, that everybody's currently in, that second expansion cube, because you were trying to be quick about it, are you going to be able to do that one? Are people going to be able to get back in time? Does that cost you one set of directives or two set of directives? Directives that are shittily sourced. What were you thinking? There's so many better ideas with that exocom. Look, I understand you don't want them handed out like candy and then everybody can drastically reduce the damage of your precious expansion cubes that you just made. But the way you're doing it now kind of screws people over. What were you thinking? I guess you were thinking you piss people off and they'll spend more money. Well, players out there, check the store out. Does it look like they want you to buy packs? Yeah, it's because they didn't make as much money as they wanted to. Seems to be a big trend going. We have crap stuff coming out, or shit stuff coming out, however. I don't know. Censoring myself. Shit stuff coming out in a month. So at the end of the month, there's a whole bunch of good packs in the store. Maybe I guess that's what they were thinking. You half-ass the arc, and then you put a bunch of packs in at the end of the month that are good packs, and you think that you'll sell more. I guess. I mean, you want to risk making shit features? What was you thinking? Well, we're over 20 minutes. What was I thinking for making you stare at my face this long? Comment below, how did you like this month? Rhino didn't like it. Thumbs down. Whole month. Thumbs down. 2 thumbs down. 2 middle fingers up. Like my saying goes. Comment below. I'd like to hear what you guys think. Be sure to like and subscribe. I am the Angry Rhino. Shields up, Commanders.